intermittent generation such as wind power.
Question number 9, the Honourable Phil Goff.
Mr Speaker, my question is to the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Has he read the Owner's Expectations Manual prepared by the Crown Ownership Monitoring Unit? And does he require directors he recommends for appointment to government companies to also read that manual?
The Honourable Tony Ryan.
It's a land of opportunity. Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister, no. The Minister relies on the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade to ensure that the appropriate checks are carried out with appointees. The Ministry and COMU advised that the manual did not apply in relation to the Pacific Forum line since it is not a Crown company. However, the Ministry requires the normal steps to be taken in relation to declarations of conflicts of interest and other such requirements.
The Honourable Phil Goff.
Mr Speaker, in view of the requirement in the Ownership's Manual, it sets out best practice that, quote, directors must disclose any relationship and or matters that give rise to an actual or potential conflict of interest. When did Mr Kiley, as a trustee for a shareholder in Safrana since 2008, first disclose that relationship to his minister or the ministry or the PFL board?
The Honourable Tony Ryle.
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister, I understand Mr Kiley made that disclosure when it became aware to him that Safrana was interested in purchasing the Pacific Forum line. He immediately advised Mr McCulley, and he then went on to make the Chair aware of a non-beneficial interest that he had as a trustee. Mr Speaker, Mr Kiley is a man with a considerable reputation, impeccable credentials, and a person who many of us have the experience of having acted with the highest integrity of any New Zealander.
Mr.
The
Speaker,
Honourable Phil Goff.
If, as the Minister says, he advised Mr McCulley, which must have been in the last couple of months, why didn't Mr McCulley remember that fact yesterday?
The Honourable Tony Ryan.
On behalf of the Minister, I'm not in a position to answer that question. What I am able to say is that I think any allegations by that member under the cloak of parliamentary privilege are
Point of order, the Honourable Phil Goff. Order. A point of order has been called, the Honourable Phil Goff.
Mr Speaker, you've often directed people asking questions to ask straightforward questions. I think my questions have been of that nature today and yesterday. I'm not making any allegations. I'm asking questions. Why should I be subject to that sort of abuse?
Order. The reason why there was a reaction got beyond an issue of order there. But I think members realise this is a very tense issue the member has raised, and it will evoke certain feelings. I'll make sure members don't get careful in their replies, but some feeling in response to implied allegations is to be expected. But it is to be expected. We in this House need to be careful of the reputations of people who cannot defend themselves in this House. And it is something we all need to be careful of. The member has absolute liberty to ask his questions, and I'll defend his right to do that. The Honourable Phil Goff.
Thank you, Mr. Question. Has the minister been advised?
Order.
Has the minister been advised that Mr Kiley, as a trustee, does not owe duties to the trust on whose behalf he was holding shares in Safrana?
The Honourable Tony Ryle.
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister, I'm uncertain whether the Minister has received specific advice on that matter.
The Honourable Phil Goff.
Mr Speaker, did Safrana have any interest in purchasing shares in the Pacific Forum line, and when did they first express that interest?
The Honourable Tony Ryle.
Mr Speaker, I'm unaware of when they first expressed that interest in a more general sense, but I understand that Mr Kiley may have been approached by Safrana sometime in July.
The Honourable Phil Goff.
If Mr Kiley was approached by Safrana in July, why was it not until the 10th of August that he relinquished his association with Safrana as a trustee for the shareholders?
The Honourable Tony Ryle.
On behalf of the Minister, Mr Kiley disclosed it to the chair of the Pacific Forum line and then took action to remove himself from that position.
Mr Speaker, supplementary.
Phil Goff.
Is it good practice for somebody advising the government on a share sale to be both a trustee for the share buyer and a director for the share seller and not advise the ministry of that?
The Honourable Tony Ryle.
On behalf of the Minister, I think the member is really seeking to create something out of that which really doesn't exist. Quite clearly, when Mr Kiley became aware that Safrana had an interest, he took action to advise the chairman of Pacific Forum line and then took action to remove himself from that trustee position. I think that's entirely appropriate. Mr Kiley is a highly experienced lawyer who is well aware of his obligations and has served governments on both sides of this House. And he has, I am sure, acted with the utmost integrity.
Supplementary question, Mr Speaker.
Phil Goff.
Mr Speaker, does he dispute the answers given to me by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs that Mr Kiley was both a key advisor on the sale of shares but had never declared any potential conflict of interest?
The Honourable Tony Ryle.
Mr Speaker, he obviously did not declare any potential conflict of interest when he became a director because none existed at that time. When Mr Kiley became aware that there could be a perception of a conflict as a result of Safrana's interest in Pacific Forum line, that's when he took the action that he did to advise the chairman, and I understand, and to subsequently remove himself from that trustee relationship. That's what you would expect someone to do, and Mr Kiley is a very experienced legal practitioner, someone who acts in the utmost integrity, and I think it's not on for that member to be making those allegations.
Order. Question number 10, Richard Prosser.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Minister for Primary Industries, what is the latest estimate by the Ministry of Primary Industries